had me from the start. By the way you stared, the way you rolled up for me, yeah. Man, I felt your energy. Wasn't used to being loved and treated differently, yeah. But something went wrong, the signals got crossed, and now we're on completely different pages. Let's go where we were, where no one gets hurt. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Will you take me on a trip? Always up and down and back and forth in merry-go-round. I just wanna get it right, but when you go left, I'm stuck here feeling left behind.
Through thick and thin, for better or for worse. After 20 plus years of marriage and 3 children, my parents are sharing their love, care, and wisdom throughout the world. Spreading this love won't be hard for them because it's simply in their DNA. I present Donnell and Angelique Jackson.
Hey
everybody.
Hey everybody, welcome to Divine DNA. I'm one of your hosts, Donnell, and this is my beautiful queen.
I'm Angelique.
Hey, how's everybody going? Doing? What's going on with everybody? So listen, today is the day that we discuss I'm sorry, I was looking at the comments. We discuss domestic violence. We have some very, very courageous people here going to tell their story. But first, we want to tell you a little bit of why we're doing this.
Okay, everybody. So October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I know you're probably like, well, if your show is about love and marriage and all things love and relationships, shouldn't it be just flowers and candy and sparkles? Why are you discussing a topic like domestic violence? Because our show is about love, relationships, healthy love and relationships. Not everybody is in a healthy and loving relationship, but we would love for everybody to be. And that's not to say that everybody will be, but for everybody that can and everybody that will, we would love to give inspiration, to give information, to give tools and resources. And tonight, and even the next 4 weeks, it's going to be about testimonials from survivors, people that have been victorious over domestic violence and have gotten out, have found true love, are in beautiful relationships now. And that's the goal. That's what we want to promote. We want to promote beautiful, healthy, happy, loving relationships and marriages. So that is the point. That is the purpose of us discussing such a topic as domestic violence.
Yes. So please feel free. If you want to, you can ask questions. We'll bring the questions up. Now, the guests are already aware that if there's questions that they do not want to answer, they do not have to answer if they're not comfortable with it. So please be kind to them, because it does take courage for them to actually come up here and to tell their story. And I will appreciate, and we love each and every one of them that has come up. Now, we did have plans on one of our a Reiki practitioner, which was our friend.
Family member.
Yeah, family member of ours, Miss Brittany, but she did have a death in the family, so she will not be with us today. So we're sending our love to her,
love,
and
positivity,
vibes,
hugs,
everything to her.
Peace, comfort, every positive feeling and vibe we can send. We love her so much. We appreciate her so much. We're so sorry.
Mm-hmm. And also throughout the show, there will be a doctor. Dr. Tyra. She's going to be watching the show, but she will also be making an appearance on the last show. If we so happen to would like for her to come up, she is ready to come up. But for the time being, she will be making her appearance.
And we will give her information for anyone that might want to reach out to her. now before
Yes.
she appears on the show.
Yes, this is Dr. Tyra Gardner. Right.
A licensed psychotherapist, a beautiful person, a business coach, lifestyle therapist. So many titles, but she is amazing. If you need therapy, she can do therapy remotely. You don't have to do it in person because she's based out of Philadelphia. So reach out to her if you need to, or if you're so inclined. She is taking clients.
Okay, so yeah, so if you guys, so that you guys will know how it's going to work, these guests have committed and they're willing to come back for each week during the domestic violence month. So they will be back again. They will be talking about different aspects of their story. They'll be asked different questions and just talking to us. They'll be talking amongst themselves. So you're going to get a lot of information today from them. You're going to hear a lot from them today.
The theme of the show tonight is the beginning. So we get to find out what domestic violence relationships, specifically their relationships, were like in the beginning. Because we all know that domestic violence doesn't start on the first date. On the first date and first appearances, everything is glorious and beautiful and wonderful. And as time progresses, that's when things change. So tonight we're going to talk about the beginning.
Yep. So I will be bringing them up. So after this brief introduction, they will be up and they're going to introduce themselves. All right. See you on the other side. Internet. Welcome, my guests, everybody. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Good.
I'm blessed. Thank you for having me.
Good. I'm sorry. We're having a little internet issues, as you guys can see, of course, but we will still keep going. Keep the party going, as they say. So, listen, really quick, can you guys just introduce yourselves to everybody, let everybody know who you are?
Well, namaste and good evening, everybody. My name is Mandy B. I am from New York. I am the creator of Ugly Pretty Chicks, so I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay. Chrissy.
Amazing. Hi, I'm Chrissy. I'm from Ontario, Canada. I am a Leo through and through. I am feisty. I am fiery. Don't mess with me or I'll fight you. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks for everybody joining. I'm a bit of a firecracker. I'm a scheduling coordinator, so I have to keep everybody moving at all times. So I like to, kind of control things. So that's me, a little bit in a nutshell, but happy to be here.
Thank you for coming. And you, young
Okay.
sir.
I'm Noah Robbins. From Nigeria, and we're here to have a wonderful program and reach out to people and touch lives, basically. So I'm happy to be here. I'm blessed to be here.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. We're going to say hello to a few people in the audience because a lot of people are.
Hi,
Yeah.
Shanae.
Hi, Nene.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
everybody's
You got to
here.
play catch up.
Granny Peaches, Queen Bee. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Lady Blue.
Welcome in. Welcome in.
Sierra. Did I say hi to Sierra? Hi,
Hi,
Sierra.
Steve.
Rashawn. Hi.
Rush in the house.
Melanie. Hi, Melanie.
Yes.
Welcome in, Facebook. Hello, gorgeous. That's our daughter.
Yes.
Oh, she is gorgeous. Was that the one
Yes.
that I saw the other night in the back? Being all cute, trying to sneak out the door, and it goes crazy.
Yep, that is her.
Hi,
Hey,
beautiful.
everybody. Welcome in, everybody from Facebook and YouTube. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we're going to get started. We just have a few questions. I know you guys were very excited about coming through. You guys had already started talking in the background. And of course, we was like, wait, time out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad you guys are here. And I guess I'm just going to start by asking, some of these questions that I do have here. So just bear with me as I read them. So what were you or your life like before your relationship? Who wants to take the question first?
I mean, I can go first.
I
I
know.
was just saying in my head, Chrissy.
Lady's like, girl, take the first one, girl. Go ahead.
Yeah, Canada.
All right. So for me, I'm pretty much like I am now. I definitely lost myself in the relationship, but I was always a firecracker. I was always somebody who very confident, very sure of myself, very opinionated. I did not take anybody else's opinions or thoughts. I thought I knew best at all times. Maybe I should have listened to some other people and maybe not gotten the mess that I got into, but you'll hear a little bit more about that later. But yeah, I'm just always been a very outgoing, talkative. I will talk to drying paint. Right? I'm so quiet. Like I hide it really well. But yeah, very bubbly person, very outgoing, very personable. I like to get to know people. I like to just, I wasn't very active. Like I was not a sports person, but you could catch me at a sports game because there was other people to talk to. That was my vibe. I loved music, loved dancing, loved any type of party when I was younger. That was me. I was just kind of the social butterfly, and I'm very much that person now, but I definitely lost that along the way. So that's a little bit about me before the relationship.
Okay. What about you? I'm going to go to the other lady. Yes, ladies first.
Before I was pretty young. I was 19, so I really wasn't much of a person. If you want to say, like, of an adult, yeah, I really was very naive. I was already on my own since I was like 14, 15 years old, house hopping and stuff. So by 18, I was already like on my own, had my own job. But that's who I was. I was a go-getter. I always made sure I had money. I had to survive. I was always, I guess you could say, in survivor mode. And I was always a writer and a creator. But when I did get into that relationship, it was like my dream was taken from me. I was silenced. I was, put in a nutshell. So I really forgot who I was. I didn't get to learn who I was. So I was really lost.
Wow. Thanks for
I can
sharing.
relate to that also. I was 19 too when I met my ex, so I get that completely.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
then I had children in the relationship, so that just, you know, before that, I didn't know who I was as a person at all, even like without children. And I got that, well, you'll hear about that too, like later on in life, I'll say, well into my 20s and into my 30s. I learned self love.
Gotcha. And to my young gentleman friend, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm doing good.
Your question's
In
a
my
little different, right? It's more
Yeah,
or
in
less
my case, it's a little bit different,
okay.
definitely. So I would say for me, there was no life before the whole situation, before the abuse and all that. Basically, I was born into it. So that was the life for me. So
Wow.
there was
Was
nothing
more,
before it.
was more or less child abuse and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I have never correlated domestic abuse with child abuse. So that's a very interesting dynamic and way to look at it, because really it is domestic violence, because
Hmm.
it's
It
your parent.
affects everybody.
Yeah.
So wow,
Wow.
that
You just hit my heart with my
listen,
kid.
listen, that
Yes.
wow. I've never in all of my years looked at it like that, as looked at child abuse as domestic violence. But I have been uh, a child abuse prevention advocate, social worker, all of that for over 20 years. So
Wow.
to have that outlook, I appreciate you putting it in that perspective.
All right. Now, since I have you up here, I'll just go ahead and ask you another question if I can. So, like, what changed, or uh, was it always what you've known as far as the abuse? So, what changed?
Yes. As far as life for me,
Hmm.
growing up, that was basically life for a very long time, for a very extended period of time. That was all I knew. That was all I was. It was normal for me to exist in that kind of atmosphere. And so I think things began to change when I started going to school, when I started experiencing other homes, when I started visiting other friends for study dates or whatever. And I noticed that the dynamic was different. And I always felt, I don't think I thought about it for a while. But as years grew on, it began to weigh on me that, yeah, nothing is right with what I am right now. So it for me, things changed when I began to see a perspective of other people, and I began to take an outlook on the world. Because for a long time I was sheltered. For a long time I existed in that bubble. I existed in that situation of what I was. And that is that abuse, that whatever it was that was going on at that moment. But the moment I was able to see different, the moment I was able to see people the way it was meant to be, not the way I was living it, I began to realize that, yeah, this is not right. And that was the change for me. That was the beginning of the change.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
Wow. That's wow. When I tell you, just listening to the story, it's just like, man,
Yes.
because I'm speechless. Oh,
Yes, Granny
yeah.
Peaches.
So for the ladies, um, when it came to relationship, what led you to the relationship?
That's a good question. I actually thought about that yesterday.
Okay.
That's so crazy because it was never in my household. I too was in a bubble, I guess. If it was happening, I was never around it. I never saw it. The men in my family protected women and children. You know what I mean? Did they fight amongst themselves as men, I guess, do? Yeah. but it was never to a point where I ever feared for any woman in my family. You know, I
Mm,
lost a mother at a young age. I didn't have my father at all in my life. I came to the realization of it was just love. And it was the idea of I had to be I wanted a family. I wanted to get married. I wanted to be with somebody, you know. And I didn't think at that moment that that part I was pushed to believe that that's what you dealt with when you were in a relationship. You take the good with the bad, you take the ugly, the pretty, and you keep going, you know, and especially if you have children with them, you keep going because that's family and you always got to be there for family. And I ran with that for a long time because I took that from my childhood. You don't leave family behind, no matter who they are, what they do. And
mm.
I took that into my relationship. And I didn't let go because of love. And I felt like since I was so young, I owed that person something.
Wow. Wow. What about you, Tess?
For me, I can kind of relate a lot to Mandy on a lot of different things. So for me, I wouldn't say that there was abuse in my household growing up, but definitely was a patriarch. So there was very much the dictatorship of my dad. So what my dad said went. My dad was the person who dealt out any type of discipline. My dad was served his dinner, his laundry was laid out for work the next day, his lunch was made. If dinner wasn't ready, then it would be an issue when he got home. Like it was very much like the king of the castle type. So my view on marriage was I was there to serve my husband. Regardless of any issues that we had, I was there to serve my husband. Um, so for me, love was always very skewed to promote and to elevate the man above the woman. So I already had this kind of skewed view of what a woman's role in a relationship was. It was very much to serve her husband. So for me, my parents actually divorced when I was 19. Same year I met my ex. So 2 months later, my dad just up and left my mom, said he never loved her, didn't know why he ever married her, regretted having children with her. So for me, my whole life was spiraling. Like I was, no longer had my family home. I had to figure out where I was going to live. I was just newly with this person for 2 months who also turns out was a narcissist and was love bombing me into loving him. So it was all the promise of, oh, come live with us. Like, I'm going to give you this beautiful life. It doesn't have to be with, divorce, and you don't have to have that life that your parents had. Like, we can build something together, and being young and naive and wanting love so bad. And I honestly swear it's Disney movies that make you think you'll always find your prince, because I'm telling you, anybody from kind of my age bracket has this dream of finding love, right? And when you're 19, and that's kind of knocking at your door, you're like, okay, I can get married young, I can have my children young, because I always had this mindset I needed to be a mom by 25. So if that was the case, I needed to be married by 22 so that I could, enjoy my marriage a little bit, and then I could start having children and all of that kind of stuff. So I think everything just in a weird, perfectly not perfect sequence of events, it just all steamrolled. So I already had this skewed view of what a relationship looked like. And then I had somebody that was love bombing me and reeling me into his narcissistic web of manipulation and lies. And I just didn't want to end up like my parents. I didn't want to end up with a divorce under my belt. So I actually got married at 22 and was legally divorced by 30, I think, 29, 30. So that's a little bit jumping ahead, but yeah. So I can relate to a lot of what Mandy B was saying, like family above all. My dad walked away, so I had, abandonment and daddy issues, and this man was promising me the world. So I was like, jump in 2 feet, not ask any questions. Red flags where? No, I don't see any flags. Let's go.
I got you. Would you guys say to the ladies, because I know with Noel, he had the experience with his parents. Did you guys experience any type of abuse while you were kids?
I wouldn't say abuse per se. Like I was spanked, but it wasn't excessive, and it wasn't meant to be harmful. What I will say is I didn't experience a traditional sense of love as a child, though. Like my parents were not affectionate. Am I freezing? Am I
No,
okay?
no, you're good. You're
Oh,
good.
okay. I froze on my screen for a second. I'm like, oh no. Um,
You're good.
but I like my parents were very vocal with love. Like if you left the house, it was always I love you. If you're hanging up the phone, it was always I love you because you never knew the last time you're going to talk to them. But it was never like a hug. It was never a kiss. It was never affection, and it was never let's talk about your feelings. It was always just I love you. That should be sufficient. I love you. That's sufficient. So I kind of always like longed for that sense of like love. I was never abused as a child. I did actually go through some sexual abuse from a non-family member when I was younger as well. When I was about 6 years old, happened one time. My parents did not believe me. That was lovely. And so I feel like there's been a few things that have kind of led up to potentially just jumping in feet first into the first experience of love that I had.
Wow. What about you, Mandy?
It's crazy how we are similar in ways, in
Mm,
many ways. um, I don't want to say I was abused because that, you know, I've witnessed a lot more children have had it way worse than I had, you know. So I was
Yes.
blessed, but I was cursed.
But I want to say, can I interject just 1 second? Just because someone has it worse than you, it should never diminish your pain. Your pain is your pain. Your struggle is your struggle. And just because someone has it worse, it doesn't mean that yours is not valid and not worth examining or speaking. You matter,
mm-hmm.
and what you went through matters.
I learned that as an adult, and I want to say I learned that at 31. I'm 32. I learned that just last
I'm
year.
32 also. We're like twins. Weird. Sorry, carry on.
Like, I wasn't told I love you like that. I love you was very manipulative in my family. It was used for gain. That's how people got what they wanted. You know, it was always, I don't have to tell you I love you for you to know. I take care of you, so you should know that. Um, Constantly reminded that I was a burden. You know, my mom left me, so they were dealt a great burden of taking care of me and my sister. You know, that weighed in a lot as I was growing up into becoming a teenager, and I didn't think about any of those things till probably I was about 12 years old. I would ask myself, well, why would I get hit more than, you know, the other kids or like my cousins, or why was I being picked on, or, you know, and it was just because I was the feisty one. I was the one that didn't want to be touched like that or didn't want to be spoken to like that, you know, and when I would ask questions about why wouldn't you tell me you love me, it was always, oh, go away, or go play. Or you don't see your cousin over there, go play. So for me, I guess even with going into that relationship, it was very much that. Like it was, here, look at the grand gestures. It was my birthday on top of that. So, you know, here's some flowers, here's a dinner, here, let's go out. Let's go do this, let's go do that. And I saw, yeah, like I won something. I had it. It was made, but something in me, I knew the whole time never to get married. But I learned that as a child, watching other people like in their relationships and how unhappy they would be, or like, you know, even the little cheating here and there, I would notice as a child, you know, that played into me not trusting anybody from a young age. So it was like I didn't even trust myself. So I never really thought about anything. I lived day by day from a child. I just usually would live day by day.
Wow.
That's exhausting.
Yeah.
I was just saying it yesterday to
Oh, wait.
my fiance, like, I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm really tired of holding it, of not speaking, of why does everybody else get to tell their story, but no one wants to hear the other side of the story. And, it's been years I haven't spoken about it, or this is the first time I've ever spoken about it publicly, ever. Anyone.
I am proud of you. I'm very proud of you. And girl, screaming from the freaking rooftops because you deserve to tell your story too, your truth, okay?
Yes, I'm proud of every one of you
Yes.
for sharing your story.
Exactly.
It's so brave.
I'm proud
It's
of
so
us.
necessary, and you're going to help so many other people.
Yes. Yes. Oh wow. Whew. So I'm gonna go to you, Noel, because
So, in the beginning of your relationships, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
no
babe.
problem. If you have a question, come on, man.
I was
She's like,
Go for it, man.
I want to know. I want to know what it was like when you first met this abuser. What was it like? Were they dazzling? Were they charming? What?
You're gonna laugh. I did not care about him. I was 19 when I got with him. I was 16 when I first met him. He was a friend's cousin. And at that age, I already lost a mother and her younger brother in traumatic ways. So I was drinking by that age, you
Oh,
know. So he was basically like the supplier, the older cousin, like, hey, what's up? Go get us a bottle. And he would always notice me. And I would always, you too old. He was 10 years older than me.
Oh, damn.
Mhm.
Ah,
So I
Okay.
was, Then one time when I was turning 19, I was 19. I was, for me, I just lost my aunt that raised me. So that was like losing my mother all over again. But now I'm an adult and I know how to really understand what's going on. And again, looking for love, trying to replace that love, fill that hole. I thought, that hole.
wow.
gotcha.
Chrissy, you want?
Chrissy?
For me, I honestly thought I had met my Prince Charming at the time. I really did. Like, he was handsome compared to the man that I was with before. Like, I had one other serious relationship, serious high school, okay, serious relationship,
Love.
like my prom date, serious relationship before him, right? In my high school days. And then he was like my first adult, like out of high school, no longer, seen as a child. I was still a child. Okay. I was 19 years old. I was a child, but I was no longer a child in my mind. You weren't going to tell me any different. So he was, he was more handsome than the person that I was with before. So my cool upgrade, love that for me. And he was like very quiet. So, and like, if you're going to be with me, you have to be quiet. Okay. Like I'm a talker. I need you to listen. That's kind of the way that it's going to work. And he was that. He was very shy. He was very introverted. Didn't really have friends, which, hello, red flag number one, because why don't people like you? But that's okay. So I just saw it as like endearing. I'm like, okay, he's like a little computer nerd. Nothing against computer nerds. We all love you. But like, he was a gamer. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, I like Mario Kart. Maybe we can relate on like that aspect. He came from a bigger city. He was a virgin, so I kind of thought that was cool, and I was not at the time. So I'm like, oh, I'm an experienced woman. Like, I can teach him things, because sometimes, when men think they know, they don't know, right? So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I can teach him the way it should be. Never again. And anyways, so yeah, that was kind of like, I was like, okay, I kind of hit the jackpot on this. Like, he seems nice, like, because he was love bombing me for the first 3 months, right? So he seemed to be everything that my quote unquote Prince Charming should be. If someone would talk not nicely to me, or like if I was going through some stuff with my parents divorcing, he was very quick to want to protect me. Little did I know that was just so that nobody else could hurt me in the way that he was going to be hurting me. But he was very much all of those things that I thought that I wanted in a future person that I was going to spend my life with. And that's initially what drew me to him. He we got along, like we liked the same things. We would go to the movies all the time. We would game together. Like that was very much what drew me in. And of course, love bombing certainly helped. Like the first person to ever tell me that I was beautiful or anything like that. I mean, that didn't last very long. That was soon replaced with other words, but we'll get into that. But yeah, that's initially what drew me in. Was he was the polar opposite of what I was, and that's what I thought I needed in my life. And little did I know it was just all an act.
Wow. Wow. Whew, boy. I'm gonna go to my friend down here because I don't want to feel left out. You know, I want to go to you. What's going on, buddy? How you doing? You good?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
So let me ask you, like, when you start, I guess I want to say, like, with the abuse or whatever, like, how did you interact with that parent? How did you interact with the parent in the beginning? Like, how was it in the beginning and of
Was it ever a loving relationship or affectionate or positive at all?
No, there was never any sense of love or affection in the relationship. It was more of I am in control and you do what I say. I give birth to you. I am your father. I am your owner, basically. So it was kind of like being an experiment or being a slave in your house. And the worst part of it is you don't even have an idea that this is what you are. Because, like I said, it is life for you. So the relationship was basically master servant. I tell you, you obey. Nothing else, nothing more. It's as simple as that. So I wouldn't say he did use psychological means, like there was a lot of physicality, but at times there was also psychological aspect, the emotional aspect of you can't do this because you're not capable, you would never be able to do that, and all that. You're not as good as the others, you're not as good as, because I'm a triplet. And that is what actually made it a little bit worse, because like it felt like it was me in particular that was being told, like, oh yeah, you're never going to be as good as your brothers, you're never going to be as good as anybody else in the whole world, you are basically an anomaly, you're a mistake, you're an abomination. So there was the physicality mixed in with the psychology of it all. And so the relationship was based on fear, based on, if I don't do this, what is the repercussion? What am I getting next? What is the situation going to be like? So it's basically that mentality of I have to do this. I can't afford to not do this. I can't afford to fail. So it was kind of messed up, but the messed upness of it all was, for me, that was okay. That was normal. The relationship was how it should be between a father. We don't even call him father. We call him bossman. We call him sir, because he was also a military personnel. So he used that hand in training us as well. So to you, when you grow up in that space, in that bubble, you kind of, nothing else makes sense to you but to obey, basically. So that was just the whole
Survival.
situation. Yes,
Survival mode.
exactly. Survival mode. You have to obey. You have to do it. Yo, go do this. Yes, sir. You're doing it. Like there is no. Oh, but daddy. Oh no. What? Are you? Are you kidding? Who do you want to talk to? So that was that kind of situation, and also coupled with the fact that at the back of your head, you're like, I am a failure. I'm not as good as these other people. Maybe if I do whatever he's saying more, maybe if I try harder, maybe I could be as good as they, or maybe he could be less harsh. But no matter what you do, you're never enough. No matter how you try to react, no matter how you try to push yourself, you are never at that peak. You're never enough. So that fear remains. That servitude stays.
wow,
Okay, woman.
wow. So trust me, as we hear your stories, we will have questions, but a lot of the stuff that we're hearing is like a shock factor for us. So, um, yeah, wow, yeah. I'm gonna take a quick break.
and we'll come back.
Yeah, we'll come back and we'll hit the comments and see what everybody is saying in the comments for you guys. Okay, we'll be right back with a quick break.
Hey there, in the mood for some style? Well, make your way over to queenbeehustle.com. Miss Hustle don't play no games now. She gave y'all options, keychains to multi-purpose trays to t-shirts. Select products can even be customized, all of which are made by this beautiful lady here, Miss Queen Bee. Head on over to queenbeehustle.com where hustle and creativity uniquely meet. Hey, hands looking a little plain there. That's okay though, I got you. Just head over to Nail Beauty by Brittany. Wait, don't tell me you don't know who she is. That's okay, that's fine. It's a good thing that ... here. I'm here to tell you. Nail Beauty by Brittany is an upcoming establishment that makes everyone's hands look pretty to boost your confidence throughout your daily basis. You get all these custom nails at a very affordable price. With proper care, these nails can last up to 3 weeks. If you head over to Brittany's social media, you'll see all of the custom nails that she has made thus far at a very affordable price. This company was made by this beautiful young woman here, Miss Brittany. Now y'all go over ahead and get your nails pretty, y'all. I'm showing enough in.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, he had to go and
He's doing something, but he'll be right back.
He'll be right back, guys. Once again, guys, thank you so much for being here. We definitely appreciate it. For you guys coming here telling your stories. Go to the comments. A lot of people in the comments are feeling you with your stories. We've even had some questions that came up. So
let's get into it.
Yes.
So this question is: how long did it take you to break out of the abuser apologist enabling cycle, and or how long did it take for you to identify certain actions as abuse?
Dang, daughter, you
wait a minute.
Those are two very good questions.
Wow.
She coming with this. Wait a minute, did she come too early? Is this part? Which part was this? Hold up, what? I have part.
Wait a minute.
I thought that was like episode 3.
Over your parts.
We have 4 parts here. She done created her own part.
For real. I like the tenacity though. I like the tenacity. She's like, I got questions. Let's go right now.
She got questions right now. You know, your parts. You know what I'm saying? We gonna make it do what it do, guys. So if you guys are ready to answer that question now, you can, but trust this question will remain if it's needed to be in one of the,
if we need to tackle it later.
She came
in. Guns blazing. I mean, I'll answer. So for how long it took me to get out of the apologist enabling cycle, I would say to the very day that I left, to the very day that I chose to leave, which was 9 whole years. Go me. 9 years. And honestly, how long did I take for me to identify certain actions as abuse? Honestly, I'm still looking back at my experience and saying, wow, that was also abuse. Wow, that was also abuse. So I think a lot of people that are in abusive relationships obviously tend not to start out as physical. They don't come out swinging, quote unquote, right? They'll start usually in the same typical pattern. It usually starts as manipulation, right? So they'll love bomb you, then they'll get mad, but then they'll love bomb you, then they'll get mad and they'll manipulate you, then they'll get mad. And then it tends to get into the emotional abuse, the psychological abuse, there's mental abuse, there's financial abuse, there's sexual abuse, and there's physical abuse. Okay, those are the 5 main types of abuse. I suffered all of them in my relationship, but it wasn't the entire time. It started with the emotional and the psychological abuse for me. When I tell people my story, and I'm so numb to that portion of me now because I'm so far disconnected and I am so far from that relationship now in my current marriage, that when I talk about it, I almost kind of don't really resonate with that person, that version of me anymore. It's more like I've written a book and now I'm reading it back, but like the author isn't me, if that makes any type of sense. I don't know if, Newell or Mandy, if you guys can relate on that. But for me, it started with psychological and emotional because that's how they reel you in. They have to get a hold of your emotions and able to be able to control you more, right? So I'm still identifying ways that I was abused, to be quite honest with you. And I literally went back and forth on that apology, me enabling, him apologizing, me enabling. And the thing about being in an abusive and toxic relationship is it's not one-sided toxicity. You have to start to be a little bit toxic in order to survive that environment. The other side of that is you have to really unlearn those toxic traits in order to be in a successful relationship after an abusive relationship. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about enough. You are also toxic in that toxic relationship because if you were pure, you would never survive. You have to do whatever the hell you have to do to get out of that relationship alive. So you have to unlearn all of those things, all of those tactics that were created to save yourself and to keep yourself sane. You have to unlearn those things. I'm going to have the last say before he can manipulate me. Ain't no motherfucking way that he's going to come at me. You know what I mean? Like, you have to unlearn that. You have to allow people to talk in your new relationship. You have to allow them to express themselves because they're not toxic, hopefully. They want to have a conversation, but you want to win the conversation because you know that that's the only way you'll get peace in your past. So for me, it's an ongoing battle. Honestly, it is. And unlearning all of those things that you had to do to survive is an ongoing battle as well.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, indeed, Noel. Exhale.
It takes so much self-awareness and work on yourself in order to break those habits. And let me tell you, I am 4 years out of that relationship. I am 3 years into the healthiest relationship I've ever been in my life. And I still get debilitating triggers where no matter what my husband now is saying, even if he's calm, even if he's kind, even if he doesn't do anything wrong and just sits there, I am not rational. I am not a rational human being in that moment. It's like, I can't hear what you're saying because I'm in a trigger. So now my husband and I obviously can talk through those. And it's more so, I'm triggered right now, I need 5 minutes. Or I'm triggered right now, just please give me my space. Or I'm triggered right now, hug me to make it go away. Because each trigger is different and each trigger requires a different antidote, we'll call it, right? Because triggers are essentially poison from your past. There has to be an antidote. You just have to figure out which one at what time, really.
So an immense amount of self-work.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was writing about earlier too. Was value your worth, what that really means.
Right.
Because people just say that like, yeah, I'm worthy, I'm valuable. No.
But what are you worthy of? What are you worthy of? Love? Everyone's worthy of love. I thought I had love. What is love? Love is different to everyone. Everyone has their own love language. Are you worthy of the love that you seek? Are you worthy of the love that you give? What are you worthy of? It's a lot.
For me, you guys, again.
Take your time.
It sounds.
We already know where it is.
Sounds insane.
Yeah.
But it started from the very beginning. Like, it didn't take long at all for the abuse to start. Again, I don't know what abuse is at that age because in my mind, I didn't go through that. So I don't know what that really looks like. I was pushed. That was the first time I ever experienced domestic violence. I remember it like it was yesterday. I'll never forget it because I was so in shock that somebody had the nerve to put their hands on me and push me in public We were in Madison Square Garden, right? And a cop, it was so intense that the cop saw I had a watch on, it flew off my hand because I went forward.
Mm.
And he asked me, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Tell me right now, are you okay?" I looked at everybody and I saw nothing. I heard nothing. And all I could say was, "I'm fine. It's okay. Leave me alone."
Numbness.
Yeah.
And that is when the manipulation started. I'm just realizing is when that person came in afterwards, like, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I was drunk. Please, let's just go. We need to go." And that person, even on the way home, told me, "Go. Why are you with me? I'm not a good person." And I still didn't want to believe it.
If I had a freaking dollar for every time I heard that, ooh, that
I didn't
narcissist
want to
in
believe
him.
it. And
Mm-mm.
I too stood a long time. It was 10 years of on and off. I left 1,000 times. I came back even more times than I left.
Mm-hmm.
And what really did it for me was the self-love. Is when I actually finally got that taste of freedom, of what Amanda was outside of that relationship, what
Mm-hmm.
Amanda was outside of the children, outside of being abused, because I knew I was more than that. I
Mm-hmm.
even going through all of that nastiness, I knew I was worth more than that. That was the
Mm-hmm.
sad part. That's what depressed me the most. Was I knew that wasn't right, and I did it anyway. And I remember distinctly one time towards the end, one of my cousins asked, "Is going through this worth your life?" You do know people die by accident, right? You do know that a single push, you grab someone the wrong way, you punch them the wrong way, you slap them the wrong way, you throw something at them the wrong way. You can end their life right there. For what? For ego? Make you feel good? And when she asked me that, it was like asking myself, do I even love myself? Do I love my kids? That's how I felt. That's how I took it. Like you're asking me, do I love myself and my kids right now? Why am I angry that you're asking me that? Because I should be able to say, yes, I do love myself and my kids. Why am I doing this? And it took me, again, till I said, no, I love me. I don't have a mom, and I don't want my kids to not have a mom either.
Mm.
So when I realized if I didn't leave, I was going to die, because I had many moments of that. Even the person telling me, looking at me in my face, telling me, I've seen it before. I
Mm.
knew it was time to go.
Oh
And
my.
I left just like that. It was one day I got up, ironically on his birthday. It just so happened to be that day.
Happy birthday.
That's what I said. Deuces. They just say I left with nothing but
Mm-hmm.
whatever I had on my back, my kids had on their back, and my car. And it was cold as hell. It was April. I left. And I never looked back. And I never will. Because
Good for
I
you.
knew that I was worth more. And later on in the story, it came a point where he even manipulated me to even keeping my children. But we'll get into that.
Mm.
Right.
Me, oh
You know
my.
what? You know what the worst part of it too is I was that friend that was always telling my friend, like, girl, he cheated on you. Why are you with him? Leave him. Girl, he put his hands on you. Leave him. What are you doing?
I would show up with her to go beat them up.
And my whole house, all these little skeletons are in there. And I'm like the one that's like, I would never be in that situation. Psych. I'm
But that
living
was
it. But I would never
deflection.
be in that situation. Like
That was deflection. I learned that later.
a
That was deflection to
100%.
take
That's the
it
only
off
way
of
that you
me.
can. That's the only way you can exist in your life and still have friends is deflecting. Because could you imagine if they ever knew? That was my thing. Could I imagine if my friends ever knew? Well, what little friends I was allowed to have. Let's be real.
They did
Uh,
know. Mine did know. And they
oh,
were
girl,
just
mine did
as scared
not.
as I was.
Mine did not. But I was always that one. Like, and I'm the fiery one, right? So I could never let anybody see that I was weak. That was another thing for me. My pride was so high. It was like my family didn't know, my ex's family didn't know. Nobody but the two of us knew what was going on in our house.
Wow.
Have you ever got blamed for what you went through? Like,
Oh,
not
yeah.
even the person,
Oh,
not
yeah.
even the person, just outside people, even family. Like, well, you put yourself
The
through
way
that.
that I have been told that you cannot be raped in marriage from too many people
Oh my
is just
God.
like, I'm sorry, when I say no and still get, I was gonna swear, I don't know if that's allowed here, and still get,
Yeah. But listen. It's Queen Bee approved to
okay,
use whatever language, and she
okay, I just
appreciates
wanted to
that.
confirm. If I
She,
say no and I'm still getting fucked without my permission, I'm sorry, but that's rape. I'm sorry, it is. Call it what it is. You don't want to be a rapist, don't fucking rape me. How about that? Like, it is what it is. But yeah,
Sometimes it was done to not be beat.
yes. It's
Not
like,
fight.
do I give in and just get it over with? Or do I have the argument? Do I have to go sleep in my car with my dog because that way I won't get beat? Like, I was sleeping
Yes.
in parking lots in my car for months at the
My
end.
dog. My dog got abused with me almost. So
My
that
dog,
just hit me.
I would never, like, I'm not saying I would never let my dog, but like when I was home, I would take the beat over my dog. So I was like, don't you fucking touch my dog. She was a puppy. She's my girl. That's my baby.
wow. I have a,
That's my baby. I
I have
didn't have children. She was my child, Like she was my
exactly,
child.
exactly.
I'll answer the question too.
Yeah. No, I have a question for Noel, and this is just me being a man and you being a man.
Are you okay, Mandy?
Huh? You good? No,
Okay.
hey, if you need to go, I mean, if you need to, you good?
I'm good.
All right, good. You being a man, I'm being a man. Hearing the stories about how how the women have been abused by men, that irritates the hell out of me. And I know it's not directed towards you, with your parents or whatever, but how does it make you feel to hear that? And how do you, well, first, how does it make you feel to hear that there's men out there who do these things to women? And this is just asking as a man, because I know it really pisses me off. But I want to ask you, especially you've been in a situation where it's been your parents or whatever, but just as a man, hearing the ladies going through that in relationship, as far as relationship, how does it make you feel as a man that these women have gone through those things?
In a word, to summarize it, I would say disgusted. It is disgusting and it is unacceptable because to an extent I can actually relate to the way to what they're talking about because like for me, not it wasn't just myself that was abused as well. The entire family, cousins, aunties, people got abused as well. So I basically grew up watching him put his hands on literally basically women because for some reason he had a vendetta against women. He just did not like women. And he had this belief that a man is supposed to be above the woman and the woman should be at your heel. You're not spoken to. You do not talk back. You do not react. What he says goes, and that is the end of the situation. Women and children do not matter. You are meant to be the slave, the servant, and he is meant to be God. Not even a God, but God himself. So, like I have seen him, basically, I have seen him rape people in front of me. I have seen him do things to women to demean them and made us watch it because he was also trying to give us that training as well that we as the children we should also see women as nothing. So I have had so many instances and I think it affected looking back it affected each of us differently. For my brother, it affected him in the sense that he became numb to everything. he did not care anymore. To the point that till today, women irritate him because like seeing a woman kind of is a trigger for him. So he cannot even have a successful relationship. He's in the army right now. A successful relationship is a problem for him. It affected me in the sense of I was so disgusted. And we got to realize that I was about 5 years at this time. I'm not even talking about, oh, I was a teenager. I was five. And I was seeing things happen in front of me that my brain could not relate to my senses. Like, boy, what the hell are you looking at? And that kind of made me disgusted. I went to sleep at night vomiting. I slept in my vomit. I went to sleep being beaten to a bloody pulp because I always refused to partake in whatever it is that was being done to understand whatever lesson that was being taught. And the thing being that my mom was not always around, but whenever she was, she tried to stand up for me. And of course, that did not end well. It would get to a point that I would get up and I'll be hearing arguments behind closed doors and I'll be hearing sounds. And as much as I tried to be like, okay, nothing is happening, but at the pit of my stomach, I knew that this man is at it again. And I remember feeling such panic. I didn't know what to do. I would run to the window. I would try to look in. The window was closed. I'll be shouting. I was so scared. And that is something that I carry with me till this day. That is a trigger for me. Noise is a trigger for me. And why it's a trigger for me? Because it reminds me that I was a coward. And that was something
No,
I couldn't give myself. That's what
no.
I thought. That's what I
Okay.
thought. Of course, now I know better.
Okay.
But it reminded me, again, that brings us back to self worth. Because for a very long time, Lord have mercy, when I talk about self worth, there was nothing, it was not existing. I didn't understand what was, I hated myself looking in the mirror. There were days when I would look in the mirror and I'll crack the mirror with my hands because I was so disgusted. I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't better. I wasn't smart enough. Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? It is those blames. And at the end of the day, like Mandy says, you get blamed. Oh, it's your fault. You got beaten up. That's your fault. Oh, your head is on the pavement. That's your fault. Oh, your parents are shouting at each other. Oh, your parents are fighting. That's your fault. You know, you should have been aborted from day one. You shouldn't have been. You shouldn't have been. You're a mistake. It's all your fault. So,
Mandy, did you want to go down for a few minutes?
She's just reminding me of my kids.
I can see your
yeah.
pain. Did you want a couple minutes or are you okay to stay up?
No.
Okay.
If you
Sorry,
need to
Bestie, continue.
Asked privately if she wanted to.
Sorry, no, she wasn't getting back, and I was just like, I saw her keep getting sadder, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just interject. Sorry.
problem, no, you're
No,
fine.
Oh, no, I like to take control. I'm sorry. I'll go back in my lane. Okay, go ahead, Bestie.
You're good. Don't apologize. You're good. You know, if you need to go down, like I said, we'll take you down and let you, have a moment. And when you're ready, let us know. You good? Okay. All right. All right. I'm sorry. Were you still?
Go ahead, Noel.
Go ahead, Noel.
So it's all these factors coming into one. And I remember there were nights because basically I was scared of sleeping because we were forced to sleep with him. Of course, women are no. Women are the devil, basically. You're not to talk to a woman. You're not to do anything with a woman. If you see a woman, you should cross the road, all that kind of stuff. And so we're basically meant to sleep in a hut. And once in a while, he slept with us. And while sleeping, it was always a Russian roulette. Like, am I going to wake up with a bloody nose today? Am I going to wake up with a broken rib today? Because basically, you could be sleeping, and the next thing you wake up to is literally your head against the wall. He's just pounding your head on the wall, like, boy, you sleep stupid. Boy, you making noise. What is wrong with you? And I remember in the middle of the night, on the days my mom kind of was around, I would crawl into her room, into her bed, into her safety. Because while the others were being twisted with this sense of women are basically hellspawn, because of the sense of security I felt from my mother, because of the fact that out of the madness that was my life, out of the insanity I was surrounded with, she was the only sane. She was the only calmness. And whenever I was with her lying on her bed and she had her arms around me, I felt the safest. And it was in those moments, crying. She herself would even know I was crying. I would just be awake, crying in her arms, and I would just be like, I remember one night when I looked into my mom's eyes and I was like, I don't want to be like that man. I don't know why he hates you and I don't know why he hates women so much, but I just know that it's not right and I do not want to be like him. And she would look back and she would be like, of course, you know you're different. And she would say words to me. She would tell me stories to put me to sleep. And of course, he comes into the room and he drags you by the ankle and he like, woo, because the house was huge. So his wing is different from every other wing. So he takes you to his wing. Just know you're dead that day. So like he locks me up. And there was a point that I wake up and I'm like, why was I born? That question comes into your head like, why am I existing? What is the point of all this? Is because they teach about God, and it feels that what kind of a God would allow me to exist in such a fucked up situation? I did nothing. I was born. What the fuck did I do? I literally come into this world and somebody's telling me that I should have been aborted. Like, bro, hey, I mean, and all those questions come into your head. But I remember one particular moment when we had a scenario. It's a little bit fuzzy, but I remember that I was getting, as usual, another beat down of my life. And I remembered in that second, in that split second, and he wanted me to cry. Because one thing he loves is to see you break. He loves to see you cry. He loves to see you crack. So when he's beating, he's like, cry, nigga, cry. What the fuck is wrong with you? Cry, you dumbass. And that is something that he loves. But that day, I did not cry because I was so done. Again, I was about 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I was so done. He was everything. My ribs were broken. My nose was broken. I was bleeding from my ears. I was bleeding from everywhere, bleedable. But like, I remember that in that second, I just felt in my mind, I was like, boy, I'm gonna die. Well, I'm dead. But I remember that I was like, God, if you exist and I survive this, I would never be this man. I would never have my kids go through this. I would never be in a situation where a woman is hot anymore. I would never try to even understand why he's like this because I would walk my path and I'll protect every woman and every child that I come across. And I was like, but God, if I'm not going to be alive, then just let me die now because the pain was too much. And that is why to this day, when I hear about abuse and I hear the things that women go through, it hurts me personally because I get it. I understand it. I have seen it. My mom has gone through it. My sisters went through it. My aunties went through it. So when you ask me the question of how it makes me feel, disgusted, sick to my stomach, and it's a sad thing that happens. It's really sad, but I don't know. I don't know. I gotta be honest. Like till today, sometimes I do try to figure out like why was he like that? Why do people do what they do? Why do some men do what they do? It could be for the power. It could be the fantasy. It could be that they themselves. Because again, all this is cyclical. The abuse goes round. They come from an abused family, and this is what they know, and they
Mhm.
do it. Their kids come out, and this is what they know, and it just keeps going, and it keeps going. But it is disgusting. And to every woman who is going through such a situation, you're not alone. You really aren't. And no matter what's happening, you need to find the strength because he's never going to change. He's never going to stop. He's never going to be better. Forget whatever visions you've had of him in the past. It is not happening again. The man will apologize and do it again and apologize, and your kids will be trapped in this circle. And Lord have mercy, they grow up and they do the same thing and it just keeps going. Take your kids and just leave. Because that child is the trap that most men have. Oh, you can't go anywhere. He's my kid. Who's going to be his father? All that stuff. It's not worth it. Just leave. Just move. So, disgusting is what it is. It really is disgusting.
Wow. Oh man.
Amazing, amazing, amazing testimony, amazing words, amazing encouragement. Thank you so much for sharing your
Wow.
experiences and your truth.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm gonna take a quick
We're going to take a quick break again.
okay, and we'll be right back.
We'll
Okay.
be right back.
Whew. Welcome back. Welcome back. Wow. Man, this has been something else. This has been something else. You guys all right?
Everybody good?
Everybody good?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Wow. Uh, whew. I definitely want to thank you guys once again for coming and sharing. You
Being
guys
so
just,
brave
yeah,
to share your experiences.
it's yeah, it's definitely something else. It's definitely something else. Um, I think we got some comments out there. I believe.
Queen B says breaking cycles.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Silky,
Break them cycles.
Yes.
Silky is resonating with the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Queen B says, thank you all for sharing your stories. Our hearts are with you all. I am glad you are breaking cycles and generational curses.
Mm-hmm.
He says, you have helped someone by sharing your stories. Please continue to be a light in someone's life. And
Yes.
Lady Blue sends all her love.
Yes. You guys have answered so many questions. You guys have told so many different aspects of your stories. It's just been an amazing time spending time with you all. It's emotional. Uh,
Triggering.
yeah. It definitely
Triggering.
is. And I'm gonna thank you. You probably get a text message. Thank you again. I know it's 4 o'clock in the morning, but thank you. Sorry for waking you with. Thank you. I'm still asleep. Thank you.
I'll wake up to it.
And I really do think. I mean, everybody else they're coming back. Every Wednesday. To even go even deeper into their stories, and to think that it can go.
It's going to get deeper.
It's going to get deeper. It's only thing I can say is bring your tissues and water to rehydrate.
Yes.
This
show was called
Meditate a little bit before this.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely meditate. I mean, just you guys are absolutely fucking amazing.
Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You guys are phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you for having us and giving us a safe space to share.
Most definitely. I mean, we can keep going, but of course, we have 2 more weeks, and I know if we stayed on here, we'll be here forever. I mean, everything has been amazing, and it's like I want to let you go, and I don't want to. Is that selfish?
A little bit.
Yes.
A little bit.
I said a little bit. A little bit. I accept that. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, just thank you for coming. I'm going to put the number up. We're going to put the number up for Dr. Tyra again. If any of you, even before, if you guys want her to be on in the next segment, she can. She's willing, but like I said, she's watching.
And if you want to message her privately, you can.
Yes, you can. Let me go ahead.
If you want to reach out to her,
I'm gonna go ahead and put her information up so you guys can see her information. There we go. Looks like it's being a little.
Oh, the anger Dr. Tyra. It's anger Dr. Tyra.
Okay, yeah.
So let me put that in the comments.
Yeah, you can catch her on IG. And you can reach her at info at TyraSGardner.com. Yeah, she's really a sweet person. We talked to her. I think we talked to her for about almost an hour, almost 2 hours.
She's a spectacular, phenomenal person.
Down
she also has weekly lives on Sundays at 6 p.m. on IG.
Right. So she's
very down to earth. She's a person. She's had her own struggles with anger. She's written a book about it. She's a great resource.
Yeah. So once again, guys, I definitely thank you. Again,
thank you to everyone who came, who participated, who stayed.
Yes.
Facebook, YouTube. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. And then after this, we're definitely going to everybody who's here live. If you have somebody who didn't actually get a chance to make it, we will be replaying this show throughout all of the pages that we have until the next show. I'll be replaying it almost every day, so that way you can catch these wonderful people and the stories that they have to tell thus far, up until part 2, which will be
dun, dun, dun.
I know, right?
A little beneath the surface.
Which will be next Wednesday. So definitely,
y'all, this was the easy part. We eased y'all into tonight.
Yeah,
get ready.
Just the easy part.
It's gonna get deep. It's gonna get.
Grab your holy shit handles. Y'all better hang on tight. We're gonna get into it.
Oh, really fast. Oh my God. Yes. So we're gonna to close out the show. But once again, before I put you guys down, let you guys go backstage. Thank you for coming through. We're definitely going to close out the show. We're going to put you backstage, and we love you.
We love you
Much,
all.
much love, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Queen Bee say, well, damn. Say, well, y'all. She said, well, damn. Queen Bee said, well, damn, there's more. If you have any questions that you guys want to ask myself and the wife, as you can see, the email is down there, support at divinedna.life. If anybody has any other questions whatsoever, but definitely you can hit us up. We'll be glad to answer any questions. But I'm going to put you guys backstage. Just hang out. And thank you once again for coming. We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, fam.
No problem. Yes, those people, they're amazing. They are definitely amazing folks. We definitely really appreciate them coming through.
We appreciate everybody that came
through.
Everybody that spent time with us tonight to view the show.
Yes.
We pray for anybody that is going through similar situations.
Yes.
I hope this episode encouraged you to let you know that you do have a chance, that you can get out. You have an example of people who have made it out, made the decision, recognized what they were going through and the antagonistic, the abuse, everything. So our goal is to make sure we help people.
Yes, exactly. If you know anybody based upon some of the things that you've heard today that possibly may be going through it, make sure you either direct them here. We're going to place the numbers up. Write down the numbers. If you need the numbers, feel free to contact us. We'll have those numbers. I'm going to place the numbers up once again before we close out the show. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you so much, guys, for coming through. Silky, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming through. We appreciate everybody that came through. And we thank you so much. So we'll place the numbers up, and then we're going to close out the show. And everybody have a good night.
Good night, everybody. And we'll see you next week for part 2.
Get ready. What's part 2 name, babe?
The part 2 is the change.
The change.
And that's at the point where the relationship changes from the wonderful, dazzling, beautiful beginning to the horror.
Yes. So just get yourself right. Get ready. What she said, what she called it, the hang on, because it's about to go down. All right. We love you guys. Thank you guys for coming through. We appreciate you, each and every one of you.